Was any more proof needed other than tonight? Do we need further proof that Eric Chavez needs to go for this team to actually have a ceiling and reach where they want to go? Anyway, though, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the Mets lose three straight for the first time this season. And what a surprise, right? What a what a surprise that the offense is the reason that yet again they drop a game. I can't believe it, right? I'm so shocked. I was so shocked when Lindor hit into that double play. I was so shocked when Lindor got gunned out at second base. I was so shocked at all the ground outs today. The fact that Lindor had to tell Chavez at one point to do his job, is that not justifiable enough for him to get canned? Or do we need to see more? If so, what more do we need to see? I'm just so aggravated with this. I really am. This hitting coach is completely lost. And because of that, the guys at the plate are lost. Because you have, while Gary was talking about too on the broadcast, he's talking about how the Mets situationally aren't doing good because they're swinging at the breaking balls and not swinging at the fastballs. No. Shit, really? Really? I had no idea. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell one bit. And that message didn't seem to relay to the guys on the box, so I mean, here's what it comes down to, right? If I could find the numbers. Here we go. So this is from @JustMets, Twitter account here, saying the Mets offense over the last 6 games, including tonight. And I'm pretty sure that I thought I'd sent to you. Let me double check that. But while I double check that, Matt, yeah, like I was saying, the Mets offense over their last 6 games, including tonight. And I don't know if it updated by the end of the night. 1.3 runs per game, 0 home runs, 4 for 44 with runners in scoring position. That's a 91 batting average. And I can tell you, if that's not updated those numbers, it is only because these numbers are actually worse than what this says. This hitting coach is the same guy that told their power hitting catching prospect, don't pull the baseball. Be a slap hitter. The same hitting coach that said, I'm not going to talk about launch angle. I'm not going to talk about doubles and homers. When the ball leaves the bat, whatever happens, happens. So we are going to try to control what happens in the box and in the mind and create consistency. These guys go up there with no information at the plate. And it just pixie dust, right? That's all it is. It's just throw some pixie dust on the situation. Let's see what happens. He's got to go. He has to go. And the only hope I feel like at this point that he will go is if Francisco Lindor relays to the front office that right now it's not good what Eric Chavez is doing, and he is not a good hitting coach. Which, I mean, Lindor, again, having to tell him to do his job should just be enough. Frustrating. I mean, it is terrible to watch this baseball team. A 0-0 game felt like they were down by 10, and they weren't even losing or anything. And then when the Red Sox scored 2, I mean, it felt like it was a 30-0 ball game at that point. Felt like there's no chance at all. It's amazing how every single hit that the Mets got tonight, which first of all, they couldn't even get a hit until the fourth inning where Mark Vientos had that double off the wall. But it's amazing how not a single hit came with a guy on base. And the one hit that would have came with a guy on base is when Carlos Mendoza was falling asleep at the wheel in the dugout and decided not to challenge the play there, where I thought Lindor was safe. And either way, I'm sorry, you got to get aggressive and challenge that with the way this offense is. You have to challenge that play. This offense is not scoring. At the very least, take a look. And why is it that this team that can't score runs at all is not stealing bases? I mean, they tried to with Lindor there, but you get my point. Why are they not going to steal bags? It's sad that the only thing we're leaving with tonight is that Brett Beatty looked good at third base, outside of the pitching being fine, which Clay Holmes, he allowed 2 home runs in that one inning. Do not care. Do not care. Don't want to hear anyone say a bad thing about Clay Holmes tonight at all. Literally none of it matters at all. None of it matters at all because this offense sucks. So who the hell cares? Genuinely, who cares if Clay Holmes allowed 10 runs tonight? I would still say I don't care because this offense sucks. I mean, you have a hitting coach that just has no clue what the hell he's doing right now. It's unreal. It's genuinely unreal. And what did we say going into the this Yankee series, right? What did we say here? That it does not matter that they are winning games. The style of it matters because it is going to catch up to them against these type of teams. Long and behold, it wasn't just to be negative after all, right? What do we have to say now? What's the new excuse? Because it's April, it's May now, late May. They're in first place? Not first place anymore. Is it that they're above 500? Because they will not be very soon if this continues. Can't wait to be the team that gets the Dodgers back on track, right? That'll be fucking great. And Garrett Crochet on the mound tomorrow. Go watch Knicks basketball tomorrow. Just go watch basketball tomorrow. Keep the TV off of the baseball game. Literally no point in even bothering. Just no point at all. They can't score off of, which by the way, forgot to even bring up the fact that the Red Sox manager and starting pitcher got ejected in the third inning. I believe it was the second or the third inning. Third inning. And they still couldn't score a run. Their starter was out that quickly and they couldn't score a run. Not a chicken shit chance they're hitting off of Garrett Crochet tomorrow. There's literally just no chance. I'm just so fed up with this crap. And you know what? Sure, maybe this will help, but I'm at the point where I don't care if they even shuffle the lineup right now. I don't know if that's doing anything. You could try shuffling the lineup if you're not going to fire the hitting coach, but I don't think it's going to matter when every single player on this baseball team is just consistently hitting into ground balls the entirety of the game. The Red Sox used 8 pitchers and the Mets still couldn't score. And I literally thought it too when Bueller got ejected from the game. I'm like, if they can't score runs now, the Cubs scored more runs tonight than the Mets have over the past week. Let that settle in. Their last home run is from Brett Beatty, by the way, which was a week ago now. A team that has Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Juan Soto. Even though Mark Vientos looks like a one-year wonder right now, he still showed something last year. Brandon Nimmo, even Francisco Alvarez with the power potential that we talked about. Those type of guys and their last home run a week ago from Brett Beatty. That's their last one. And I'm pretty sure he has the home run before that. You know what? That's actually a good question. When was the last non-Brett Beatty home run? No, I was wrong actually. Brandon Nimmo had the one on yeah, Nimmo, Vientos, and Lindor, I believe, had home runs on that Mother's Day game. That's right. So it has been a week and 2 days now since they've had a non-Brett Beatty home run. And I'm not saying you're wrong. It could work. I'm not saying it can't work because I've said it before too that Viento should be in the 2 hole, but I just currently don't know if it's going to matter is what I'm saying here because when the guys are up there with a terrible plate approach, nothing is going to matter. You could change the lineup no matter what or whatever way you want to. I don't know if it matters. I'm not ruling out the possibility that could work because again, I've suggested it, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that's the fix because again, Chavez is not doing his job and that's the bottom line. And yeah, I mean, this too, if you can't hit, play small ball. And I hate small ball, but you got a point there. Literally something. Show something. But no. Since Torrens hasn't played much, the offense has disappeared. If Luis Torrens is the reason this offense goes, then you're there's no point even having this core together right now. There's no point in having these players if Luis Torrens is the make or break in the offense. Legit, no point at all. All right, I didn't see if your camera. I didn't see your camera was on. Oh, he's bugging out. I was trying to bring Matt on, but he's lagging out and everything. So I don't know if it's even gonna work at all. I'll wait to see if that gets sorted out because just kicking him back out every time. Um, Chavez killed Alvarez. And don't get me wrong, I mean, Alvarez in that one at bat where he just froze at a pitch going right by him was not good. And that's some of it obviously still falls on the hitter to a degree, but you're not wrong. And I love how you have Brandon Nimmo, who guns a guy out at the plate too. And I'm thinking, oh, we're in this, right? No. Let me try again then. Good now?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just my camera's fucking up. I gotta end up buying a webcam for myself. But I mean, yeah, it's just it's time. He has to go because this is just. And listen, I get it. The whole there will be ups and downs in baseball seasons. You'll never be performing at your optimum thing for a whole 162. But it gets to a point where this is just beyond pathetic. Like it's basically like every single time they get runners in score position, I have no expectation that they're going to score because it's ground ball double play. Every time a new pitcher comes in from the bullpen, first pitch swinging, ground ball. And then the one time, the one time today, like Nimmo, where he actually drives the ball into the outfield, he ends up hitting into the deepest part of the ballpark in center field at Fenway Park, and it gets caught for an out. And again, they strand runners. It's just, I don't know. And it's just so frustrating, especially for the pitchers, because Clay Holmes today, like, sure, he wasn't like super on it to the first couple of innings, but eventually, like Senga yesterday, he settled down. He gives up the 2 home runs, but it's like again, it's like how can you blame Clay Holmes? How can you blame the pitching when this offense is literally doing nothing? And the worst part is it's like people saying like, oh, it's Soto's fault, it's Lindor's fault, it's Pete's fault. With this lineup right now, it's like it goes beyond the players because it's like I said before, and I was saying in the group chat, it's like no matter who you bring up in the situation with runners in score position, everyone will fail. It doesn't matter who. Everyone is going to not come through, and that comes down to one man, Eric Chavez. He needs to go, and if he doesn't, then if Chavez doesn't get fired, there's a chance they don't make the playoffs this year. And that's not me being like just like overreactionary because they've scored in their last what is it in their last 8 games they scored 14 runs. That averages out to about 1.75 runs a game.
I
That's
mean,
that's
yeah, like
terrible.
Ray saying, they had a 5-game lead in the division and blew it because they can't hit at all. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they just miss it entirely. With this garbage.
Something's got to give. So something's got to give. Like even if okay, maybe like even if they fire Chavez, like I'm not saying that the offense will automatically become the best offense in baseball. But Jesus Christ, at least maybe it's gonna light a fire under some people's asses, and maybe like they could bring in a guy that actually uses analytics and actually uses data and actually teaches these guys and give them basically like a heads up like background thing on how the opposing pitcher is going to pitch them, what type of pitches he likes to use, where he usually likes to locate with these pitches, and maybe just maybe they might actually become a competent offense. Like I said, I don't need them to be the best offense in baseball. I would like them to be the best offense in baseball, but you know what? Just give me competence at this point because this is beyond just incompetence. It's terrible.
I don't even have anything to add anymore. It's just, we've talked about it every podcast episode. I'm saying the same things every post game show now. It's just stupid. It really is just stupid. And
Something's because they're gonna get swept tomorrow. Like they're not hitting Garrett. If they can't even hit Walker Bueller, the Red Sox freaking bullpen, there's no way in hell they are somehow they're somehow going to get across runs against Garrett Crochet. It's not gonna happen.
no, they
And
haven't hit
then
elite pitching the entire season to
no,
now.
and then they're gonna get swept by the Dodgers. So it's I don't know. Something needs to give, like I keep saying. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it needs to be soon.
I genuinely don't think we're gonna get to that point until we get to the games where they play teams like the Rockies and the White Sox.
They're not
Um,
gonna hit. They're not gonna hit in those games either.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like when those games come, assuming the offense, which I think is a fair assumption at this point, is still not producing. I mean, it gets if it gets to that point, I think
But, it-
that
but,
forces the hand of a change
but
because then at that point you're talking about a team that because right now they're what 29-20, I
yeah.
believe. So if they lose the next four in a row, which we're assuming here, that'll put them at 29-24. I mean, you're getting close to 500 territory. If they lose games to the White Sox and Rockies and there's no changes, then I mean, there's no point in turning the TV on for the rest of the season because at that point they wave the white flag on the season.
But it shouldn't. But it shouldn't even get to that point
Oh,
because
I that part I agree with.
these are the teams that you're going to be trying to freaking play for to win a World Series. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers upcoming. You know, eventually when they play teams like the Padres, the Giants, when they play the Braves, the Phillies. If you can't hit against these teams, I don't care what you do against the lower tier pitching staffs. I care what you want. I care what you're going to do against these teams because these are the teams that you're competing for. And if it tells me right now that you can't compete with these teams, well then it's time for a change because it's not going to change come October time. It's going to be the same thing like we saw last year in the NLCS, where okay, fine, like the pitching will keep a minute, but only to a certain point because you know the Dodgers offense they could explode for runs. This team, no. This lineup, no. It's not going to happen. So it shouldn't have to get to the point where they're struggling against teams like the White Sox and Rockies. Fix the like I always say, be proactive about the problem, not reactive. Because if you're going to wait for the Dodgers, I mean not for the if you're going to wait for the White Sox and Rockies series to make your decision, then you're being reactive at that point. And listen, everyone knows we love Stearns on this podcast. We adore the guy. But if he doesn't go soon, I have to start asking questions about David Stearns. And I can't believe that he's ignoring this problem. Like I can't believe like in the interview that he was doing and saying like he believes in the so-called process. I can't believe that a guy that's so what's the word I'm looking for? So in depth and so detail oriented about the pitching side and the pitching
Analytically
side of the
driven
game.
too.
I can't believe that that he actually believes that about the offense. So I don't know if it's just he doesn't feel like there is a proper guy out there that could come in and replace Chavez. But even at that point, like just get him out of the team, out of the organization. I do not care because you know what? You could probably find some random guy off the street that could be better than Eric Chavez. Because if you have Francisco Lindor that's basically calling him out and saying, bro, we need you around, like he's basically not doing his job at that point. He's basically just there showing up and collecting his paycheck. Like I could do that shit for free. So it's just he's got to go.
Yeah. Um. I mean, I'm not. I know that you weren't implying it, but yeah, just want to make my point to the stream here that I'm not saying they should wait for that series to fire him. Obviously, he needs to go now, but sadly, I just think that's the point it's going to have to take for them to actually make the move, which it shouldn't be that way because, like Matt's saying, these are the measuring stick games, and this is really where you show all right, we're the team that was 2 wins away from going to the World Series last year. We're not seeing any of that right now. I mean, it's just not even close to that level at all, and that should not be the case when you add Juan Soto to the same group. And honestly, I mean, the deeper issue here is what Hebrew Hammer is saying, though, that this has been a problem for years now under
Yeah.
Chavez, and this is why we highlighted it throughout last season and we started the channel the season prior, but I mean that season was just such a joke. But we've been highlighting this throughout the channel's history that Chavez is a problem because every single time you hear someone give credit, it is never to Chavez. It's somebody else like JD Martinez. And we talk about this with the Rangers, how if you have so many alternate captains, then you don't have a captain. The same thing could be said with a hitting coach here. If you have two co-hitting coaches or whatever you want to label them as, you don't have a hitting coach. You don't. You can't fool me. You can't fool anyone. We're not stupid here. You don't have a hitting coach if you're co-signing or co-assigning the role to two different individuals. So, and I trust this is really what it is. I mean, I trust Stearns too, but very questionable there. And the fact that he said that to the media, that the hitting isn't, the process is there or whatever. No, man. No. I've serious questions there. And Stearns isn't perfect. He's not going to be, but that is really concerning to hear that he thinks that. Very concerning.
It's like I said, like, listen, it's a 162 game season, right? There's going to be ups and downs, right? And listen, there have been teams that have started out poorly and have ended up having great seasons. Prime example, the Mets last year. We were all saying they were dead in May. They came back and they ended up making a deep run. You know, you look at the Phillies in 22, started off poor, ended up going to the World Series. The Braves in 21 started poor, won the World Series. The Nationals in 2019 started poor, ended up winning the World Series. Like, there's plenty of examples. Like, just because you play poorly in May, it doesn't mean that it's going to translate to when, you know, you end up playing games in late September and October. But when it's a 4-year thing like Chavez, and we've seen the problems throughout 22, 23, last year, and now this year, it's like it's like we were saying about the Rangers for through the last couple of years. It's not that they were playing great last year. It's that they showed that they couldn't play playoff style hockey for the past 6 years. So it's not a small sample size thing. Like 4 years is it's a big enough sample size to ultimately make a decision that this guy's not the guy and he needs to go, and that the team won't take the next big step until he's gone.
Yeah. They barely beat Pittsburgh, which again, people didn't want to hear it when we talked about it with
And
a friend of the show, Carson from Mets Weekly. And by the way, yes, it is
Yes,
time
it is.
to. It is absolutely time, especially because they're going to get killed tomorrow night. They're going to get killed by Garrett Crochet. He might throw a no hitter. So yeah, it's definitely time. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it after that Pittsburgh series for a reason, that it was a cute series win. They did what they were supposed to, which is beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. They got outscored in that series. So if you can't accept the facts that the offense is a problem, I don't know what more you need to say. But this is why, even during wins, we point out these things, because of the fact that these are warning signs of bad things to come. And long and behold, we weren't wrong. It's almost like we know what we're talking about. Isn't that surprising? And I hate to be like, yeah, I told you so. I would have loved to have been wrong. But I even said it during that podcast. Unless there was actually visual changes with the offense and their plate approach, then we're going to have the same conversation, except they're losing.
Yeah, and I mean, and listen, for me, like, throughout the start of the season, I was kind of a bit more patient with the offense, just because I thought, like, okay, you add Soto, you add a couple more bats, obviously you bring back Pete. I always had the thought of, okay, maybe like Chavez is a terrible hitting coach. We all know that, but maybe, just maybe, if you stack enough talent in this lineup, then maybe you could win in spite of Eric Chavez. But it's come to a point now where it's just not true, because you need coaching. Coaching matters to a certain point. Like yes, obviously it does matter, and the players in the box have to do it themselves. But like I said, when you're sending the players up there blindly without no information about the opposing pitchers and how they're going to attack you, and just basically saying whatever happens, you're setting your top guys up to fail.
And again, the biggest point here is that a lineup that consists of Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, amongst other names who are either being paid or we talked about last year as productive players. Whatever the case may be, that lineup should not be in this much of a rut. It is baseball.
Mhm.
There are going to be off games. There are going to be times where they do not perform and there are slumps. But when everyone is quote unquote slumping at once, that screams, and we talk about it in hockey all the time, where it's easier to fire one guy than change 20 plus guys. The same applies here, where when everyone is quote unquote slumping and not producing, that's a coaching problem. And it's clear as day. And the
Yes.
guys mentally look beat. Like everyone's so hung up. And this is the one thing I will say because I've talked about how I've not liked the way Juan Soto has looked up in the box and everything. I mean, the same applies for everyone in this lineup right now. No, does anybody look? And I think Juan Soto and the whole story there that Yankee fans are playing pretend and making fan fiction about him. I think that's what's, you know, masking the fact that everyone in this lineup looks defeated up there. Who actually looks like they are confident up at the plate right now? Who? Somebody tell me. The only guy I
No,
think maybe right now that you can make a case
McNeil.
for, and I can't believe I'm saying it, is Jeff McNeil.
Jeff McNeil's our best offensive threat right now. And
That's it.
when Jeff McNeil is your biggest offensive threat in 2025, you got a problem. It's just, but it's again like we were saying, and I brought this up many times, the bipolar offense, and you could look and you could take this back all the way to 2022. You'll see the same issues. Maybe they weren't as bad as it is right now, but the warning signs were there. They were there in 22. They were there in 23. They were there last year. And now it's gotten to a point where it's like an all-time bad this year. And it's like with this offense, like we've been saying, like what Lindor is not this bad. Juan Soto is not this bad. Pete is not this bad. Nimmo is not this bad. Vientos is not this bad. Like you said, there is going to be stretches where there will be slumps. But like I'm saying, they're not this bad. Like, there's just no way. They're too talented to be in this bad of a rut. So it comes down to the hitting coach, and there needs to be a change. And I fully agree with the whole thing of like Soto looking unhappy and the whole lineup being unhappy. Like, yeah, I would too if we're barely scoring 2 runs a game. It's terrible.
From Brandon Nimmo after the game, I've never encountered one year where we haven't gone through something like this. Even the 100 win season, we encountered it in September. Do you remember, Brandon, how that 100 win season ended? Do you remember? Because of those magnifying issues. Again, it is baseball. You are not going to be playing your best brand of baseball all the damn time. We get that. But this bad, where you're not even scraping runs? No. No. And for a week of everyone, again, it is not one guy. It would be one thing if it was one or a few guys. It is everyone. Every single hitter. And this isn't a 1 week slump either. The entire season they have been bad with runners in scoring position. We've talked about this, but the winning just caused people to go, nah, nothing to see here. Nope, don't say it. And fans were just coping. Now that they are losing games, long and behold, to no surprise, people are actually pointing it out. Can you believe that? It's the problem that we talked about. And again, I hate to keep bringing up hockey, but it's the same thing we talked about then, where sure, the results might be there at certain points, but it doesn't mean you should ignore it until the results aren't there. Because when you are the 8th worst team in OPS with runners in scoring position, only ahead of the Blue Jays, the Rockies, the Pirates, White Sox, Rangers, Orioles, Royals. And then in batting average, they have slid down now to, look at that. They slid down to the bottom 5 here. They are only ahead of the Rockies by 5 points in batting average, and the Pirates. Only ahead of the White Sox by 8 points in batting average. And then the Orioles are there in last, who are below 200. But they're the Orioles right now. They are really bad. But you know what? You know what 3 of those teams have in common, Matt, that I just named? Could you tell me what those 3 teams have in common, unless you don't know what I'm talking about here?
So it was the Rockies, the Pirates, and who else? The Orioles?
And the Orioles. Can you tell me what those 3 teams have in common?
Bad pitching staffs.
They all fired their manager,
Oh, okay.
and it is May.
Oh, yeah.
All of those teams have fired their managers. If you can't fire, I'm not calling for Mendoza's job. I'm calling for the hitting coach's job. If you can't fire the hitting coach for this team being in the same company as those 3 teams that fired their managers, then it just tells me that you really are just waiting until shit hits the fan before actually making the changes, and you're being reactive instead of proactive, like you were saying earlier. And to that, sorry, then do you really have aspirations of winning a World Series? Because the Texas Rangers, who are now ahead of you, who were behind you, but are now ahead of you, again, they fired their hitting coach. So this is something that teams in the company of your offense are doing, but you are not.
And that's also a Texas Rangers team that's 2 years removed from winning a World Series.
Yeah, that's what Brian brought up, I believe, in the chat earlier. Brian brought it up here. They won a World Series and fired the same hitting coach from that group. But this team, for whatever reason, cannot fire Eric Chavez. And it's because, they're getting unlucky is all I keep seeing. And again, I'm not anti-analytics. I'm not anti saying, you're unlucky, because there's truth to that. But when the results are this bad, specifically with runners in scoring position,
they're not getting unlucky. And this was something that pissed me off during the game today. I don't know if you caught it, but Keith was talking about it, and he was saying like how the Mets were struggling today to score with runners in scoring position. But he said to be fair, they are hitting hard. They are hitting the ball hard. I'm like, no. You don't get the benefit of the doubt when this is 1 week plus or not even 1 week plus, when this is basically a whole season of garbage with runners in scoring position. If they were actually scoring with runners with scoring position at a consistent rate, and then they just had 1 or 2 off nights, I'm like, okay, cool. They're hitting the ball hard. It's baseball. Sometimes you hit the ball hard and there's a field there. You get unlucky. Not when this is a constant thing every single night.
And that's the other difference. If this was a slump because, they're hitting the ball hard, but the results aren't coming, sure. Like, I'd look past this, but you know what else is the problem when they're hitting the ball hard? You know where they're hitting the ball when they're hitting it hard?
On the ground.
You're not going to do much. It's the same conversation we had with Brett Beatty when we were talking about him wearing his If Man cape and suit. About, he's hitting the ball hard. It's on the ground. If it's on the ground, who the hell cares? Who the hell cares if it's on the ground? They don't know what launch angle is. And their hitting coach admitted it.
He doesn't believe in launch angle. He doesn't believe in launch angle, nor does he believe in exit velocity.
So here you have your hitting coach, and for a team that's not firing someone because, they're hitting the ball hard, then why is this guy not believing that stuff? Why is he not believing launch angle? It's just stupid. Truly is stupid.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I guess that's all you could say, right? I mean, just looking at the hard hit balls right now, right? The top 8 hard hit balls. Yeah, top 8 hard hit balls. 7 of them are from Red Sox players. One of them was from a Met player, and it was Lindor's single. That's it.
I mean, uh, the at bat that pissed me off the most, and again, this goes hand in hand with the fact that Chavez doesn't know how to develop young power hitting players, was the fucking Alvarez at bat in the second
What are you
inning.
talking about? He's not a power hitter.
Yeah, well, I know, but that at bat in the second inning where Alvarez does a great job getting the count to 3-2, and just looks at a fastball right down the middle. When if he was actually coached by a proper hitting coach who knows what he's doing, he crushes that ball over the green monster 400 feet, and the Mets take the lead there in the second inning. But nope. Instead, let's take Francisco Alvarez, his main ability, the reason why we were all excited to see him come up through the minor league system, was because of his raw power. But no, let's just whatever we do hitting practice before the game, let's have him hit the ball 35 times, and he can only hit the pull the ball twice, and the rest have to be ground balls to the opposite field. Yes, because that's how you fully develop a young power hitting catcher like that.
Sounds about right to me.
Because let me tell you, if Francisco Alvarez was in any other organization with an actual hitting coach, whether that be the Dodgers, the Braves, the Phillies, the Yankees, he'd be one of the top offensive catchers in baseball right now. But instead, we're wasting a 23-year-old's potential and talent because we need to have him hit the ball the opposite field. We need to let him become a true hitter. And listen, I do not have a problem with an offensive player trying to expand and improve on his offensive ability, but you're basically telling him to go away from his number one ability. This is like Ranger prospect development 101, and it doesn't work.
And you know what the sad part is? By the time they actually put the right guy in place, it's literally going to be the Rangers thing where it's like, well, this young prospect, whatever you want to call him, is well graduated prospect status, and now is just like it's just like broken beyond repair.
That's why listen, that's why we're seeing Ronnie Mauricio right now in AAA hitting the ball hard. I want him nowhere near the major league team at this point.
Him and Drew Gilbert keep them in the minor leagues. I mean, there's no point. And you know what? If those guys are hitting the ball hard, why not bring up the guy from Syracuse right now to be the hitting coach? I'm sure he'd love to be the guy, because if those guys are hitting the ball hard, and if Brett Beatty every time he's down there starts actually hitting the ball hard and pulling it, something to be said about what's going on there in Syracuse. So why not? Maybe that's the guy. Maybe that's your hire, at least for the short term.
I mean, I would love to know who a hitting coach because look at the Cubs, right? The Cubs have a very good lineup, and they obviously added Kyle Tucker, but in the offseason, right? But they are smoking the ball right now. They're one of the top offenses in baseball. They just put up 14 runs tonight on the Marlins. This lineup right now would probably barely scratch out a run or 2 runs against the Marlins right now. And the Cubs right now are constantly hitting, 7, 8 runs a game. Sure, will there be off nights? Yes, because it's baseball. But for a consistent rate, that offense is putting up runs.
Yeah. I mean, you just see it across baseball too. Like the Atlanta Braves, who have been improving, which is the team you mentioned, and that's the thing. Like, people are talking about right now oh well, you don't hear Dodger fans complaining right now. Number one, I mean, they won a World Series last year, so they could shut the fuck up for all I care. Number two, they're still hitting the baseball. It just, I don't know. Maybe it's because their entire pitching staff is injured. At least you could look at that situation, and be like, well, they have pitchers that are not healthy, but they're going to come back at some point, and that it will change. The Mets? Nope. No, none of that. Their offense is relatively healthy, minus Jesse Winker. And they don't have a fully healthy pitching staff. But again, I'm not going to sit here and blame Clay Holmes for allowing home runs. I'm not going to sit here and blame the bullpen when they walk batters. I would complain about that stuff if they were scoring and the bullpen was not keeping them in the game and blowing games. Then we could have that conversation. They're not hitting. That is the bottom line. And I don't want to see the excuses like Hebrew is saying here. I don't want to see any of the excuses. No. There are no excuses. You have guys making way too much money in this lineup. Perform, and the hitting coach needs to go. It's the bottom line. Do you have anything to add before we wrap it up, though, here?
No, I think we could pretty much wrap it up.
Well, all I could say is I feel like we're getting... The funny part about Brandon Nimmo bringing up 2022 is that it literally feels like that season all over again, or 2021. A little bit of both, honestly. But we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live. And we'll see you guys in the next one.